Well, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail the flag, right? The twilight's last gleam. Come on in, everybody. Got a second edition of Speaking Politically. And today I'm going to talk about the American oath of allegiance to our country. If you're not a natural citizen, please study this. This kind of brings us together, right? Right? This is when our country was united more than ever. We've got to get back to this. Through the night that I fly in your voice. Excuse me, I don't know what happened. Our flag, if our flag doesn't mean something to you, you're in the wrong country. Stick around. Land of the free, home of the brave. The last words of our national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How are you all this morning? Welcome. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for joining in right now, if you've joined in, whether it's live or on the rewind. I am SubaruSteve, and I've got some fun stuff for you today. We're going to talk about the oath of allegiance on Politically Speaking. Nope, I say it backwards. There's so many Politically Speaking shows out there. Mine's the very first, Speaking Politically. So remember that. Whenever you see Speaking Politically, remember you heard it first on the SubaruSteve show. SubaruSteve show. Why am I tongue-tied? Was it from singing the national anthem? I tell you one thing I did this morning. I woke up and drank an 8-ounce bottle of water before drinking my coffee. Now, if you're like me, you wake up and drink coffee every day, try it. I actually felt better when I was drinking my coffee because of the little 8-ounce bottle of water. All right, folks, let's get on to this. So today I'm speaking politically. It's a new series I'm doing on Thursdays at 8 a.m. On the SubaruSteve show, live on YouTube, and from my past in Technicolor. And if you don't know what that means, ask somebody who does. Or if you do know what that means, type it in for those who don't, right? That's how community works. We share. So, I was planning to talk about the great divided states of America. And I've come up with all these little bullet points. And in my quest to come up with notes for today's show, something to talk about, I got stuck on one of the items. So I've got stuff to talk about over the upcoming weeks. I hope you'll tune in for that. As a reminder, I go live Sunday through Thursdays at 8 a.m. And what I do for you. That's right. And for me in the future, because when I'm laid up somewhere, I can always watch my own videos, right? Just like my Sunday morning social media sermons. Who better to listen to about what I believe than myself? Especially 10 years from now, 15 years from now. All right, I think everybody's here who's coming here, right? So today I wanted to talk about something that really got to me, and that is becoming a U.S. citizen in the United States of America, right? And many of us, definitely the majority of the people I know, were born into being a U.S. citizen. And what does that mean? Okay, you might say, well, I didn't ask to be born in America. I don't believe in anything. I'm British, and I think that England should own America. Whatever, okay? But the oath of allegiance is something we're born into, or if you've immigrated in, that you swear an oath of allegiance to. Hear those words? Oath of allegiance. So to all my Somalian friends up in Minnesota right now, and if you haven't heard about that, just look up Nick Shirley, journalist, and you'll see a whole bunch of stuff. But the oath of allegiance, it is the final mandatory step for immigrants becoming a U.S. citizen. Before I really get rolling on this, I just wanted to point out I have two facts of the day for you. One has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, and that is for those of you down in Venezuela right now, those of you working, those of you citizens down there doing whatever you're doing down there, remember that being on time is rude in Venezuela. It's very rude to be on time. Always show up early or late. Doesn't say that. Find out whether you should show up early or late, and then let us know in the comments. The other thing kind of goes in here with speaking politically. I wanted to talk about something political, and that is the Library of Congress contains approximately 838 miles of bookshelves, long enough to stretch from Houston to Chicago. No wonder we're so messed up. 838 miles of bookshelves? And we expect Congress to know everything about them? Nope. Don't think that's the case here. All right, let me turn this around so that I'm a little more focused on what I'm doing here. So today I want to talk about a solemn pledge to renounce foreign allegiances. Yeah, support and defend the United States Constitution and its laws, right? And commit to civic duties. If you're an immigrant and you've got your citizenship, you should commit to civic duties like military or national service when required. Heck, even if it's not required, what a great way to become a citizen, by joining the military. Anyways, culminating in receiving the certificate of naturalization and officially becoming a citizen. This ceremony signifies patriotism, solidifies loyalty to the United States, and involves surrendering permanent resident cards before becoming a citizen, with options. Now here's where we got messed up, and I don't know when this happened. Options for modifications for religious or disability-related reasons. And that's what's really kind of got me a little discombobulated here. This oath of allegiance here, I'm not reading that. I'm kind of reading some of this. No, this is 13. The oath of allegiance and information on that. Do you know that it's 13 pages long? I'm not making this up. Look, 13 pages long. And there's a lot of good information on here. Stuff I have forgotten about, but basic stuff. We'll kind of cover some of this in a few minutes. If you want to look it up online, just type in the oath of allegiance. And this is this? USCIS.gov. But look up the Oath of Allegiance, look for the 13-page document, and start putting your comments in regarding what you're seeing right now so that those watching it later also tune into what you're thinking and saying. Because it's not all about me. Nope. In this great country, it's about everyone, right? Especially our citizens. Let me add a caveat to that. Especially our loyal citizens. Loyal to the country, not to me, not to a person, not loyal to a political party, not loyal to colors red or blue, not loyal to the country and its laws, right? Unfortunately, I was about to say, if you don't like a law, go get into politics and change it. And I think that's where we've gone messed up here. And I found it. I have it highlighted there and here. So I'm going to give you this real quick, and then we'll go into looking at the oath. The purpose of the oath is to formally give up allegiance to any other country or sovereign. Yeah. If you are from, I hate to use Somalia, because if you're from South America, right, and you immigrate into the United States, you're from Venezuela, right? You're a Venezuelan citizen, but you want to be an American citizen. You have to give up your allegiance to Venezuela. I'm not making it up. That's not the hard, cold truth of it. That's the reality of becoming a citizen in our country, right? Allegiance. The purpose of the oath is to pledge loyalty to the United States, its Constitution, and its laws. I just said that, right? Must be because I'm an American citizen. Commitment to take this oath freely, without reservation, and embrace the responsibilities of citizenship. Yes, Did you hear that? Responsibilities of citizenship. You don't just come into the country and then get on welfare and food stamps and just lay back and kick it and go get a car and all this other crazy stuff. We don't do that in America. And if you're doing that in America, you better run. I'm just going to say it like that because people are looking for you. The ceremony. So you stand up, you raise your right hand, and you recite the oath of allegiance with an officer. And we'll go over that in a second. Citizenship, you receive your certificate of naturalization and officially become a U.S. citizen. Now, there's steps involved in the middle there, but this is just breaking it down. Key points, mandatory. You are not a citizen until the oath is taken. Those of you who think you're citizens, have you taken the oath of citizenship, the oath of allegiance to our country? Modifications. Man, this is where we messed it up. I don't know where or when. I want you researchers out there to do this work for me. Modifications available for religious objections, like so help me God, or severe medical disabilities preventing understanding. Okay, that I agree with. Medical disabilities preventing understanding, and you're coming into this country because your country won't help you. I'm okay with that. But when I grew up, born in the 50s and school in the 60s and 70s, we swore oaths with our hand on the Bible under God. That's it. That's what you had to do in this great country, in your country, if you're a citizen, to be a citizen, to take an office, to take a political office, right? So how do we have politicians that don't believe in our God? That's where we've messed up big time. Because if somebody is in politics looking over our great country and doing things that unite everybody and bringing us all together, then why are they in the limelight for not doing what they should, for supporting freedom of religion? Freedom of religion, if I'm wrong, let me know, means that you can come into this country, you can become a citizen, and if you don't believe in God, you practice your freedom of religion in your home, right? It doesn't mean we go around building mosques and these huge mosques and we put up loudspeakers so that in the cities every morning, 4 times a day, we can have a call to prayer for the Muslim community in an American city. For loyal Americans who might be trying to sleep or relax or rest 4 times a day, they have to hear that? No, no, no. It's got to stop, people. And I propose to you that these changes that have happened come from illegal aliens and people that have come into our country and gotten their citizenship and then decided, you know what? Screw America. I'm sending money back to my country. Come on now. Let's take a look at the oath here real quick. By the way, as I go to that, look at this. I found this in my old box of old stuff. It says PT 109 on it. And I just think it's a really cool glass. That's not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. If you come into America, this is your country. If you're a legal immigrant, right? You have to give up the other country. You cannot serve 2 masters at once. Ooh, that's a good one for Sunday. JFK, 1917 to 1963. And I grew up in this era. I can remember as a young boy seeing JFK on television. I was 6, and I remember this. And I had no political affiliations at the time. I was a child. I was a young man learning about the country and learning about the laws and the Constitution and the Oath of Allegiance and the national anthem and all of that. I was learning that as a young man. I grew up proud to be an American. Today, how many of you can say you're proud to be an American? And if so, are you practicing lawlessness? You know, it's sad whenever anybody is injured due to a protest or a riot or any of that stuff. The main fact of it is we should not be protesting and rioting in non-peaceful venues. And everything I'm seeing on television right now with protests and riots, they're getting violent. What the hell is wrong with us? Okay, back to speaking politically about the Oath of Allegiance. I'm not going to read every page by page. I'm just going to highlight some. And this is what I liked on this. Now, this comes from the United States CIS. Somebody look that up. Oath of Allegiance PDF. There were some things on here. You raise your right hand and say, oath have to become citizen. I'm just mumbling while I read this. Here's the oath itself. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty of whom or which I have hereto been a subject or citizen. Stop. Okay? This means you cannot have dual citizenship. That's what our oath of allegiance, that's what we built our country on. That's what we allowed immigrants to come into our country and make us strong from people from China and Scotland and Ireland and England and all over the world. They came in, they renounced where they were coming from. They said, forget that, we're done with that, right? And they became a United States citizen, meaning that United States comes before all, other than our God, our country, my country, your country, everybody's country that's in the United States legally and that are joined together in community, right? That's where we get our strength from. That I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Domestic. When you're protesting law enforcement or getting violent with law enforcement, are you supporting the laws of the United States domestically? No, you're a lawbreaker, according to our oath of allegiance. An oath breaker means your integrity is comes from the U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services. This is where ICE is a good thing, right? U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services. They're telling you how to become a United States citizen legally. That if somebody comes out to your car and says, "Are you Ira Jose?" You can go, "Yes, I am." Pull your license out real quickly, put it on there, hand it to them. Work with law enforcement instead of having your windows broken out or almost killing a law enforcement officer with your vehicle and then being shot and killed. And what do we do now? We're awarding her side of the family over $500,000 on GoFundMe. What's wrong with us? Over somebody who did not support and defend the Constitution and laws of this state, of this country. Enemies, foreign and domestic. Also says that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. True faith and allegiance. Allegiance to the same. Allegiance to the United States of America. Not in protest. If you want to make changes, get in the political arena. Join Congress. They have 838 miles of bookshelves. They need people in there reading them laws. We need them. I need somebody in there reading them laws. What can be done and what can't be done. We got to get this country straight. Next, that I will perform non-combatant service in the United Armed Forces of the United States when required by law. Now check that out. Why would we put that I will perform non-combatant service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America when required by the law? Because if you come from England and we go to war with England, we don't want you going out there and killing those people in the country that you came from. Now, you renounced your citizenship to that country, you're an American citizen, but we're still not going to make you go out there and do harm to where you came from. That's a good thing. What's the opposite? That I will perform combatant service? No, we're not going to make you go out and fight. That I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law. Let's reread that. That I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction. Some of you just locked in right then. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat or you're for this or that, you're thinking, what I'm doing, it's work of national importance. No, that's not what it says. It says that I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by law. Doesn't mean go out there and protest, because it's your right to go out there and protest against law enforcement doing their job. Do you think those ICE agents are really having a good time being away from their families, away from their homes, away from all that stuff? And they're constantly being harassed and ridiculed. We've got ICE agents being stalked. I mean, what is going on? American citizens don't stalk law enforcement. They don't. If they're journalists, they report the facts, but they don't harass. And here's the biggest one, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullet points. And here is still the current last bullet point, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Thank God we haven't removed that from ICE. So help me God. If you're trying to do the right thing, folks, serve the right God. Maybe you're following the wrong God. Maybe your God is money. Maybe it's wealth. Maybe it's money, isn't it? But maybe it's physical objects and possessions. Maybe you're a monk walking across the world. You cannot become, according to our oath of allegiance, you cannot become a United States citizen without taking this oath of allegiance, an obligation. So help you God. You know what's kind of scary about that? In another way, just had a strange thought, was if you don't believe in God and you get up there and you put your hand on the Bible. Where's the Bible? I got one. I got them all over the place here. But if you put your hand on the Bible, right, and you don't believe in God, and you say this oath, and then you end with "So help me God," what I'm going to say is, if Christians are right, you got a big awakening for lying on the Bible. That's something we don't do. Like me putting my hand on the Quran or something. I can't lie on that. That's not my faith. I don't want to know about, other than educational purposes, not to convert to other types of, to Islam. I mean, why is Islam in our country? Freedom of religion I get within their homes. Freedom of speech. You know what? We need help in Congress, and we need help in politics on both sides. Oh man, I'm rambling. I hope I'm not rambling. Here are the key principles. We just went from that. I promise before God, all this without influence from anyone or hesitation. Or hesitation. Or hesitation. If you're getting in there and go, I didn't think I was going to have to put my hand on the Bible, and you start to hesitate, get out of there. You shouldn't be swearing an oath like that. And I say here again, too, I breaks it down. I promise to do other non-military work. Promise to give the military performing duties if the government asks me. I promise I will use weapons if the United States government asks me to. I promise that my loyalty is to the United States only. I promise that I will protect the Constitution and all laws from enemies, from other countries, or from inside the United States. I promise to completely give up all loyalty to leaders and governments of other countries where I was a subject or citizen before. So when you hear somebody here saying, oh, this is our Constitution and I have the right, but I'm really a citizen from over there too, you don't get to double dip in our country. And that's the problem. We've got people double dipping, triple dipping. Look at the gender problem in our country. It's like Baskin Robbins 31 flavors. That's another speaking politically episode. Let's see. The next part of the oath breaks into I'm not going to read all these. There's videos you can. Words and phrases in the oath: declare absolutely and entirely, promise to announce something you believe in. It breaks it down so that you, the immigrant coming into our country, what does heretofore mean? Before now. I mean, it breaks stuff down so it's easy. To support means to hold up as important, to defend, to protect, or fight for. Then you have to match words together. So there's a test they take to become citizens. How are they taking the test if they can't read it? But I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. The Oath of Allegiance, Section 4. And again, it's a test to see, do you know these things? Here's word Word bank. Here's 6 words: pay, file, register, obey, serve, and stop. And 6 short sentences. You have to put the right word in the right box. Blank for a red light, blank for selective service, blank child support, blank on a jury, blank on laws, and blank federal income taxes. Pay, file, register, obey, serve, and stop. Well, we know where some of our priorities are: red lights, selective service, paying your child support, knowing that you can be on a journey, obeying the laws, and paying your tax. Section 6, more stuff. Give examples about what you're doing. Complete the sentence. To think about obligations that people have. Finish each sentence. Parents have an obligation to what? Children have an obligation to what? U.S. citizens have an obligation to what? And then you have an obligation to what? Guess what? If U.S. citizens have an obligation to, and you don't match that, you probably failed the test. There's some more. So this is 13 pages of the oath and things that you're going to do to become a United States citizen, right? Anybody learn anything from all that? I hope so. I hope so. And real quickly, I got a special shout out. I'm looking for Deborah Reitz 4382. Deborah, I got a free fast food lunch for you. You just got to reach out to me. Text message me. You got to figure out how. It's easy to find me. So that's waiting for you. Anything else we got? I got to do a little bit of work on the forensic app here that I'm working on. And nobody caught that my last typo was SubaruSteve, but I got that corrected as well. Hope you enjoy speaking politically, and I look forward to doing it next Thursday. If you'd like me to discuss anything politically, I'll take a stab at it. I try to be impartial. I don't want to take one side or the other. I do believe that our two-party system no longer works, and that we need to have a one-party system with term and age limits, right? Keyword there, age limits. Did you know that the average age of the U.S. president is 55, maybe 56 by now, because of President Biden and President Trump? Both men are too old. Come on. You have to, if you can take Social Security in your 60s, that should be a mandatory retirement age for all full-time political offices, right? And we're going to have term limits. We need a younger bench in our country of United States citizens, of true patriots that believe in this country and want to get it back to where it was 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, until we started waking up. I'm sorry, put me back to sleep, because I love the country I grew up in. I wish you'd experience it with me. All right, folks, that's it. I'm high-fiving out, wishing you the best and all the rest. Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight all around ramparts we watched, silently streaming, and the rocket's red glare, bell bones bursting in air, with proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, says that star-spangled banner yet waves for the land of the free and the home of the Thanks for watching, folks. Catch me Sunday, 8 a.m. live for Sunday morning social media sermon number 137, to be determined.